Sean Murphy of the Oakland Athletics, without a doubt, is the most sought-after catcher in the trade market. Outside, maybe Alejandro Kirk. You could argue that they're 1-2, depending on where you view their value. I think that they're right there neck and neck, and it depends on what organizations view. Sean Murphy has 1 year less of control than Alejandro Kirk. Offensively, Kirk is slightly above where Murphy is, and defensively, Murphy is slightly above where Kirk is. Depending on how the evaluation goes within an organization would depend on who you value the most. But multiple reports have come out that the A's are very, very close to moving Sean Murphy. And why does this interest us? Well, it's going to be a pretty darn good comparable as to what the Blue Jays can receive.
Yeah.
So the teams mentioned that are in on Murphy are, of course, all the teams we've already heard tied with the Blue Jays. Right? Any team that needs a catcher. So the Cardinals, the Rays, the Guardians, and the Red Sox seem to be the finalists. The dream. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, do any of these teams surprise you?
Not really. Maybe the Rays a little bit, but not even there, because if the Rays decide, the Rays are such a pitching factory, and this is my dream. The Rays get Sean Murphy. Now, of course, that would be a thorn in our side as Blue Jays fans, because it's a pretty darn good catcher coming within the division. However, if the Rays wind up giving up a Springs or a major league ready starting pitcher, that sets the bar. Now we as Blue Jays fans can expect this front office, Shapiro and Atkins. It's in my brain, gang. Shapiro and Atkins to go out and be able to get a starting pitcher, an area of need for this Toronto Blue Jays team.
I'm surprised the Red Sox are on this list. We're going to talk about it at the end here when we talk shortstops. Why do you let...
What are they doing?
Why do you let Bogarts go and then go get Sean Murphy? Like, I don't know. It just...
The Rubik's Cube that is the Chain Bloom Red Sox, I cannot solve. Like, I don't know. They go spend $140 million on Trevor Story, and then they let Bogarts leave?
Hey, we'll touch on shortstops later. Let's focus on Sean Murphy for now. It's weird, man. I don't know. I think you have a good point, though, that what happens with Sean Murphy is going to set the market for the Blue Jays. And this is what we touched on off the top of the show, is that this move, I think, happens this week.
Yes.
I don't think Jansen or Kirk or Moreno get moved this week at the GM winter meetings. I do think Sean Murphy goes, and then I think that sets the tone for discussions on Blue Jays catchers over the next month.
And may actually decide which catcher the Blue Jays move, right? Like, maybe that is one of the reasons why the Blue Jays front office is waiting on Sean Murphy, which was reported a month ago that the Jays may take this approach. Let Murphy fall where he falls, and then from there, they can decide which direction they would like to take with this three-headed monster catching.
Well, I mean,
they have,
This is the thing, is right now, like, just looking at this list, Cardinals, Rays, Guardians, Red Sox. If all those teams need a catcher, and I'd say you could probably throw the Astros into the mix there too, even though they're not listed 100%. In this tweet, needing a good quality catcher.
Even the Cubs you could put in there. There are teams out there that need a catcher.
For sure. But once those big dominoes fall, right? Once Aaron Judge goes to the Giants, or once DeGrom goes to
Texas,
right?
Yeah,
for
DeGrom
big money.
Already went, yeah.
All of a sudden, the price goes up on the guys that are left, right? Like Brandon Nemo is going to get more money once Aaron Judge is off the books, right? Because the offers he's getting right now are not going to be as good when the Giants, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Yankees still all have their eyes set on Aaron Judge. But once those musical chairs start getting taken away, that's when the desperation comes, right? So that's probably going to work to the Blue Jays' best interest. Now, what does Sean Murphy get? Like, what does he get back in a haul? I would say maybe the Jays get more for Alejandro Kirk or Danny Jansen than Sean Murphy, sheerly out of panic.
That's very true.
Fear of being left out in the cold.
That's very true. Now, especially when you're talking Alejandro Kirk, because he's a great comparable with Sean Murphy. I mean, they're very different catchers, by the way, but just the quality of the two are right up there, right? So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I really hope Major League ready pitching comes back in that Sean Murphy deal. I worry that it's going to be all top prospects, which is that's not what the Jays need.
No.
The Jays are so far past the rebuilding phase. Maybe in 2019, this is something that we could discuss. What kind of prospects would this team get by moving a guy like Kirk? But there's no need for the Blue Jays to move a catcher if they're not going to fill an area of need. I would rather them roll with 3 catchers, and I don't think that is ideal in any sort of scenario. I think that they will trade a catcher, and I think they probably should, even just for playing time with a guy like Moreno. You don't wish one of these guys to just sit on the bench, right?
Right.
You can go out and get a Martin Maldonado to do that,
Mm-hmm.
if that's the direction you'd like to go. But I think Gabriel Moreno is going to need almost everyday playing time for him to properly develop into the catcher everyone sees him being.
Agreed.
Alejandro Kirk is an all-star. You need his bat in the lineup every single day. And Danny Jansen has the most power of all 3 of them and manages the starting pitching rotation better than anyone else because he's got all that experience. So, there's so many reasons why you want all of them in the lineup at all times. So, yes, there's a lot of Blue Jays fans that are beating the drum very loudly. We don't need, you don't have to move a catcher. And that's true, but you probably should.
Probably should. How do you feel, honestly, if we carry all 3 catchers into next season? Are you okay with that?
I
don't like it either. I know a lot of people that are adamant that we shouldn't force a trade. I kind of feel like we should.
Yeah. And listen, I would rather them carry 3 catchers than move a guy for prospects. I don't think,
I don't want to move. Okay, I don't want to move a guy for prospects, but if we're saying, and let's just throw the name out, Gabriel Moreno. Let's just say we should get back an A-level Brian Reynolds. Let's just say we get him back, right? I would rather go into next season taking a lesser return who's still
going to fill that area of need.
Still going to fill in like a B-plus guy than just have 3 catchers. I don't know. I'm just...
Those of you listening too, drop in the comments what you think here. I mean, Adam and I are so on the fence. We go back and forth with this constantly. Which catcher should they move? Who should be traded? Yeah. Should we keep them all? Like, what do you think? But I agree with you, and I really do feel like if we're going to bolster the outfield or starting pitching, one of them will be done by free agency, and one of them has to be done by trade. Mm-hmm. And of course, the biggest chip this team has is catching. So
we really appreciate all of you within the walk-off community. This thing continues to grow and become an animal of its own. It's a little bit overwhelming, but honestly, we love talking Blue Jays baseball and all the interaction that you folks are involved with us. Thank you so much. Discord, feel free to join it. That is always free. The show, or the link is in the show notes. You can follow us on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast, on Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast. And if you are watching on YouTube currently and you're not subscribed, we'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. All the best, everybody. Cheers.